Well, good day everyone, it's Graham from Great Off-Road Adventures and welcome back to another video. Now this one here is for those of you that are new to four-wheel driving. I'm going to cover 5 tips to help you get out there safely, to go out there and enjoy yourselves and to go and have fun. So I'm going to take a seat here and we're going to run through them quick. All right, let's talk about tip number 1. Knowing how to put your four-wheel drive into four-wheel drive and knowing what modes to use, all right? So work out if you have a four-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive / SUV, all right? All-wheel drives and SUVs, they are still good cars. It's what Jess owns and we'll go to national parks in it, but we don't take it off-road, so to say, okay? We don't take it down four-wheel drive tracks because we know that that's not what it's designed for and where it's meant to go. We have a four-wheel drive in the form of the Cruiser. That's what we use for four-wheel driving. So if you have a four-wheel drive, great. You now need to know how to put it into four-wheel drive, all right? Otherwise, you're not going to get very far. Consult your owner's manual, which should be the first place to go to. That's going to explain and show you, probably with pictures, how to do it. Failing that, say you don't have an owner's manual or whatever, jump online. There should be some videos or some instructions or directions online how to do it, all right? But in short, you're looking for a dial or buttons that go, that's labeled 2 high, 4 high, 4 low, all right? And they're your off-road modes, or your, they're your four-wheel drive modes, so to say. Some cars will have a dial, some cars will have a button, and other cars will have a little stubby gear stick or lever next to the main gear stick or next to the main transmission handle, all right? So that's what you're looking for. I'll explain those modes quickly now. 2 high is pretty much the mode, or the mode that you'll drive around on road all the time in, okay? It's 2-wheel drive and it's, it puts a little bit less load on the drivetrain and all that, and it's what you'll drive around on road for. 4-wheel drive high or 4 high, or 4H, is your first mode that you'll go to when you go off-road. So you'll use that for gravel tracks, gravel roads, and your sort of moderate speed, high speed, four-wheel drive stuff, okay? You might use it on a beach, but you might also use four-wheel drive low, okay? So what four-wheel drive low is four-wheel drive has engine power sent to all 4 wheels, but it is essentially halving the speed that you can travel at. And it does that by changing the ratio. It means that the engine is under a lot less load, and it also means it has twice as much power. By halving the speed, you have twice as much power and torque available should you need it, okay? So low range you'll use in steep terrain, going uphill and downhill. So when you're going downhill, you want more engine braking. Obviously, the speed that you're doing downhill is halved because of the engine braking. Likewise, going uphill, when you want more torque and more power, not necessarily more speed, but more power available and more torque from the engine at a slower speed with more control, you'll use low range, all right? Likewise, when you're going through particularly soft sand or soft mud, that sort of thing, all right, same, you might flick it into low range to have that little bit more torque and engine power available. Now, I'll quickly touch on the end here. Some cars are considered all-wheel drive and then can, with the push of a button or turn of a dial, become four-wheel drive. And that's what the 200 series is. Same with Prados, and I'm sure there's many other makes and models out there, but they're the ones that I just have at hand. And so essentially, it drives around in high range all the time with power going to all 4 wheels, but unlocked. And then I can push a button called the center diff lock button, which gives equal power to the front axle and the rear axle, and that's the same as going from 2 high to 4 high in your traditional four-wheel drives. And then I have a dial that goes from high range to low range, which I need to be stopped and in neutral for, just the same as going from 4 high to 4 low, all right? And that is now essentially the same as 4 low, okay? With the center diff lock locked in low range, that is 4 low. So there might be some other cars out there that are all-wheel drive that can turn into four-wheel drive, and you'll know if you have one of those or not If not, it'll say it in your owner's manual, okay? So tip number 1, done and dusted. So tip number 2, letting down your tyre pressures. You would have seen me, if you've watched any of my other videos, I pretty much always in my off-road videos talk about and show us letting down our tyres. There's one simple thing that is going to get you further off-road than anything else. It's letting down your tyres. Every time you go off of bitumen, you should consider letting down your tyres. Now you don't always have to, but you should consider it. What I mean by that is, if you're going off the bitumen to go along a well-known, good, high-speed gravel road, all right, and we know there's plenty of them around Australia. Say it's just going down the gravel road to your mate's farm, okay? Now, you don't need to let your tyres down for that, okay? Likewise, a good quality high-speed gravel road, again, you probably don't need to let your tyres down to go along that if it's just for a couple kilometres. That being said, if I was going to go out into the outback, or I knew I was going to do prolonged distances, so I'm talking more than probably 25 to 30 kilometres on a gravel road. Certainly if I had the intention of turning off to go down a four-wheel drive track, or if it was particularly corrugated, that sort of thing, as soon as I go off the bitumen, I'll be letting my tyres down, even if it's good quality gravel road. So I've done another video in the past where I talk about tyre pressures, what I recommend for various different terrains. All right, I'll quickly recap on that. For a high-speed gravel road, I'd probably let out 25% of your tyre pressure. So in my car, I run 40 PSI on all 4 tyres. If I was going to go on a good quality, high-speed gravel road that has some corrugations on it, still want to maintain a good speed, I'm talking 80, 90 kilometres an hour, all right, I'd let my tyres down 25%. So I'd let them down to about 30 to 32 PSI all round. That 10 PSI will make an amazing difference to the ride quality on the corrugations and the control you have over the vehicle. It's going to work your suspension a lot less harder as well. So your suspension will do less work, it'll last longer. It's an all-round general good thing to do when you go onto gravel roads, especially if you're going to be on them for a prolonged period of time. Then we go on to gravel tracks like what you find in a lot of national parks, ones that have got some little water runoffs through them, that sort of thing. All right, my go-to tyre pressure for that will be about 50% of my on-road tyre pressure. So again, I do 40, so I'll let my tyres down to 20, 22-ish, all right? Somewhere in that ballpark. Again, if it's wet, muddy, that sort of thing, I might alter my tyre pressures a little bit. If it's going to be particularly rutty, I might leave my tyre pressure slightly higher at, like, say 25. So if I do bounce into a rut, I don't DB the tyre, that sort of thing. That comes with more advanced skill sets, so I'm not going to get too deep into it in this video. And then sand. Sand, I probably go a little bit less than half. So my sort of go-to sand tyre pressures will be 16 front tyres, 18 back tyres. And I'll be prepared, and I have done it in the past, depending where I've gone, on particularly soft beaches or particularly difficult sandy climbs to get off the beaches. I've gone down to I've let out 3/4 of my tyre pressure from my on-road pressure. So 40 start, I've been down at 10 PSI before, all right? There's a rough guideline for you to use when you go out there and start going off-road, okay? Every vehicle's different. Heavier vehicles are gonna require a little bit more tyre pressure to be let out, i.e. my heavy weight behind me. Lighter vehicles, not so much, but that comes with practice, all right? But essentially, as soon as you go off of the bitumen with the intention of going off-road, I would be assessing and considering letting down your tyres, okay? My third tip is going to be to go with some friends. Nothing beats a day out four-wheel driving with a couple mates, all right? It is a lot of fun. You get to talk crap on the two-way for a couple hours, and if you don't have a two-way in between when you hop out and look at obstacles, look at the view, that sort of thing, it is a lot of fun. So if you're new to four-wheel driving and you have a couple mates that have been doing it for a little bit, okay, I'd highly suggest sending them a message saying, hey, do you have somewhere easy in mind that we can go to? I want to get into four-wheel driving. I want to go somewhere easy so I can start out. I don't want to go and do anything too hardcore. I just want a fun day out where I can learn some of the capabilities of my car and I can start out this whole four-wheel driving thing. Now, any of my mates message me that, I'd be jumping on board to help them out, all right? So give it a go. If you don't have any mates to go out four-wheel driving with, say you're new to wherever you are, you've just moved recently, okay, what I'd suggest doing, hitting up the local four-wheel drive club. They will always be keen to take out new members. They will know, they will have easy trips in mind, they'll have moderate to hard trips. They will know the best place to take you to start out four-wheel driving. And you know what, they generally, good four-wheel drive clubs will have really proactive members that are keen to help out and get new people into this activity, the activity of four-wheel driving, and to do it responsibly and to do it the right way. So that would be a big tip for you guys. If you want to go out with someone, hit up a local four-wheel drive club, okay? You will learn much more there than you will anywhere else, other than maybe a four-wheel drive training course, but I'll get onto that in a sec. So that's my third tip. Go out with someone and sponge, okay? Someone that has a bit of four-wheel drive experience, if you have the opportunity to go out with them, be a sponge, absorb as much knowledge as you can, all right? It's gonna help you out, bring you up to speed so much faster than you trying to go out there and battle and do it on your own, okay? So go out with a mate, go out with a four-wheel drive club, because you're gonna catch up and learn so much more, so much faster that way, all right? That would be a big tip for you guys and girls. The last thing I'll add about tip number 3 is that if you can't find a four-wheel drive association or a group to go out with, or four-wheel drive club, and you don't have any friends, jump on Facebook, find a make and model page for your car, all right? Now, I'm on a couple of the 200 series pages throughout Australia and on the Perth one, and routinely there are events run through the four-wheel drive group for people to come out on, group days, okay? Now, people that are new to four-wheel driving, have a chat to the person that's creating the group day, assess, chat with them, see whether it's something that you can get out and do in a stock four-wheel drive that's easy for a beginner, or whether the group day is pitched more to those with more experience and are going to go out and tackle more moderate and more difficult tracks. If that's the case, I'd probably avoid the first time going out and tackling the moderate and difficult tracks. You're probably going to find yourself in strife and you're probably not going to enjoy it. But if it's an easy day out, then jump on board. The best thing about going out with people that own the same make and model car as you is you will be able to ask someone that has direct experience, what are they doing in this situation? Are they in high range? Are they in low range? Do they have traction control on? Do they have it off? What gear are they using? What tyre pressures are they at? All of that. How, goes back to even my first tip. How do you put it in four-wheel drive, all right? Someone that has the same make and model car as you, that has that experience, that they are prepared to share and impart with you, very valuable, all right? Jump on board. Again, be careful though, that you don't find yourself in deep water first time out. Make sure that the first time out, if you're going to go out with a group like that, a make and model specific group, that you're going out on a trip that is easy for beginners, all right? And just clarify that with the person that's running the event, okay? And you'll be able to find all that on Facebook, that sort of thing. So that's tip number 3, done and dusted. Tip number 4, all right? Tip number 4 is talking about recovery gear. So let's go to the car and I'll show you the basic recovery gear that I think you should have when you first start out, all right? And I'll explain a few bits and pieces with it. So let's go. All right, so we're at the back of the car and I've got a fair bit of gear laid out here. I'm gonna run through some of the essentials that you should be taking with you when you go out four-wheel driving for your first time. Now there's 2 scenarios at play here, going out on your own, going out with a friend or a group, all right? And I'm gonna cover off whether you need the equipment for which scenario, all right, for either scenario. So the first thing that I'd say that you go with is water to keep yourself hydrated and food to snack on. Even if you're just going out in the morning and you intend to come back in the afternoon, a big day, a long day of four-wheel driving like that, You will be dehydrated and you will be hungry if you don't have anything, and you will feel it. You will feel wrecked at the end. So I'd recommend having something to snack on, having something to drink. We're talking about looking after yourself. I'd recommend having a first aid kit, all right? This is mine. This is a very comprehensive first aid kit. This is the one that I have for all our remote area travel and all that, and it pretty much covers everything. It is very comprehensive. Again, this kit costs about $200 off the top of my head. If you're just starting out, you probably don't need as comprehensive kit as that. You can start out with something smaller, but I'd definitely take something with you, because if you injure yourself out there, it might even just be a minor injury. You might have stubbed your toe, cut your foot open on something, you know, on a stick, who knows, all right? If you have the means to treat that, you'll get over it, you'll get on with the day. But if you've cut your foot open, your sand, dirt and all sorts getting into that wound, it's going to be unpleasant for the rest of the day, all right? So basic first aid kit, definitely worthwhile having. On that note, if you find yourself having fun, enjoying the forward driving, enjoying getting out there, and I'd recommend going and jumping on a first aid training course, all right? It sort of goes hand in hand with everything else we've talked about, all right? Because there's nothing worse getting out in the bush, being remote, right? I'm not even remote today. I'm only an hour from home. I'm in Avon Valley National Park, all right? But if something happened out here, it's at least an hour for me to get help, all right? So at least I have the means to be able to treat basic first aid myself. I've done a first aid course, I know how to use it, okay? So it's a good thing to have with. So there's two other things that I'd say, personal equipment to take with you for a day of forward driving. I'd recommend taking a two-way radio, all right? This is something you might be able to borrow from a friend, all right? It allows you to talk to your friend from the car, all right? Now, there's been plenty of occasions with me. I've gone out with friends, cousins, family, etc. They've been new to forward driving. They don't have one of these. This is my handheld, lives in the door of my car. Lend it to them for the day. I use my main UHF that's installed permanently in the car. We can talk backwards and forwards. You can say, hey, look out to the right, look at that magic view. All right, we got to take the next turn on the left, all right? You can just relay some messages, you can talk, they can ask for advice, you don't have to get out of the car, you don't have to stop, that sort of thing, all right? Very handy tool to have. And likewise, a little tip for those of you that do some camping, if you've got these, put them in your kid's pocket, send your kid out to play around the campsite. Say you haven't seen them for a couple of minutes, push the call button, you know, the brrr makes a ringing noise on the other end of the radio. Good friends of mine do that. It's the message, all the kids have got to come back in. You're getting too far away, or snacks are out, or you've got to put more sunscreen on, or, you know, whatever reason. It's a good, easy way that you can signal to all the kids, hey, you've got to come back to camp. So two-way radio has a lot of uses, worthwhile having. And again, it's not overly expensive. It's pretty cheap. I think my one there cost me under $100. It's just a basic 2-watt handheld from Uniden, and it's served me flawlessly for many years. Next thing to get onto is you're out having fun, forward driving, enjoying the day, making great memories. Take those memories home with you, all right? You want to be able to cherish them and enjoy them, all right? It doesn't take a lot to pull out your phone or pull out your camera, all right? Take a few photos. You will have a blast. Trust me, if you go out, you've got an open mind, you're enjoying the day, you're having fun, it's your first time forward driving, grab some photos and have some fun with it, all right? Take those memories home, share them with your family and friends. So take a camera. Now that ends all the personal equipment. We're now going to talk about some vehicle equipment that you should have with you when you go forward driving. First things first, you need to have a shovel, all right? Mine lives on the car here, and I don't think there is anything on this vehicle that is used more often than that shovel, all right? It is used for a plethora of things. Not least, obviously getting the car unbogged, but when we're camping, I'll dig fire pits with it. If we need to go and do our business out in the bush and there's no toilets around, I'll dig a hole, bury it, okay? Shovel is probably one of those must-have items to have with you, all right? Whether you're on your own or in a group. And you know what? You've probably got a garden shovel sitting in your shed at home. Pack that in the car, take it with you, all right? That way you have it. Next thing, we're going to talk about recovery gear. Now this one here is a tricky one. It takes a fair bit of money to set yourself up with even just basic recovery gear. And if you're new to four-wheel driving, you don't know whether you're going to enjoy it yet. You might not have even gone out four-wheel driving yet, but you want to venture into four-wheel driving, and you don't want to spend a whole heap of money getting equipment. I would do a short list for you on things that you are nice to have, things that you should definitely have, and whether you can borrow them off friends if you're going with friends, or if you're going on your own, whether you need to have it with you, all right? So first things first, you get yourself bogged. You need a means to get yourself unbogged, all right? You need a rated recovery point on the vehicle. Now, most four-wheel drives these days have a tow bar or tow assembly on them, all right? Most of them have that square tow tongue. You can pull that out. You can put in place what is called a hitch receiver, which is what this is. Goes in place, has the pin go through it, has a shackle that you can attach the strap to, and that is a rated recovery point, all right? So you can use that to get pulled out backwards if you need to, and I can use that to pull someone else out too, all right? So if you get bogged, you need to ensure that there's a means that you can safely connect a recovery strap to your vehicle, all right? Now, that's probably something that you should have regardless of whether you're going out on your own or you're going out with friends. It's not really something you can borrow off your friend. I only own one, and if we go out and I'm with a friend of mine and he gets bogged and I need to pull him out, I need to use that on my car. I can't land it to him for him to use on his car at the same time, all right? So that's probably something that you need to actually invest in before you go. They're not overly expensive. Again, I think it's under $100 for that recovery hitch block, all right? Or hitch receiver. Next thing, recovery straps, all right? I've got my old trusty snatch strap here, still keep it in the car. It doesn't get too much use these days. I have a new recovery rope that I think is safer and better, but it's a very expensive item, all right? Again, if you're gonna use it a lot, like I do, worthwhile probably investing in, but if you're starting out, start out with just a recovery strap. This is something you can borrow off a friend. If you go out with a friend four-wheel driving for the day, you probably only need one snatch strap between the two of you, all right? So if I was to go out with a friend today, then I would have my snatch strap and I'd say to him, look, don't worry about bringing your snatch strap or don't worry about getting one, but make sure that you have a hitch receiver, okay? You can borrow mine. If you're going out on your own, absolutely take one, because if you go out on your own, you get into strife, you get bogged, and another vehicle comes by, you can wave them down and say, hey, look, I'm bogged, I need some help, I need to get unbogged, I've got my own snatch strap, can we just hook it onto the back of your car and can you pull me out, all right? And 99.99% of people out there will oblige and will help you out with that request. It's a very reasonable request. What is unreasonable is to go out on your own with no recovery gear, get bogged, hail someone down, ask them to help you, and expect them to use their own equipment, all right? That's a pet peeve of mine. Don't do that. Don't be that person. If you're going out on your own, have your own equipment. And lastly, if you're going out on your own, particularly in sand, but you can use them pretty much in all terrain and in any terrain, in mud, and all sorts of conditions, take some recovery boards, all right? And know how to use them. So I've done a video on utilizing recovery gear, links up in that corner there now. You can go and check it out. But yeah, I would recommend taking some basic recovery gear with you and ensuring you know how to use it if you're going on your own, all right? You go on your own, it's not much use to have a recovery strap that requires a second vehicle to be there to pull you out when you're on your own. You're on your own, you need some form of means to get you out on your own. So recovery tracks would be my first thing that I'd invest in before going out on my own, all right? And then as you develop and as you get more advanced and you enjoy the four-wheel driving more and more often, then it might pay to look at a winch. But I'm not advocating for beginners to go out and go and get a winch. it's unnecessary, all right? You can start out and you can learn four-wheel driving just with the basic equipment that I've covered now, all right? And the last two things that I would suggest you have with you, especially if you're on your own, you're gonna need them, all right? Tyre pressure gauge, and coincidentally, if you're gonna let your tires down, you need an air compressor, pump your tires back up. If you're going out with friends, I'd say it's probably still worthwhile to have a tyre pressure deflator. They're not overly expensive. I think you can pick these up for under $50, all right? That way you have the means to let your tires down. Worst case, you get to the end of the day, you need to pump your tires back up, you're with a friend, you can borrow their compressor, all right? But just make sure that they actually have one before you go out. And of course, if you're out on your own, make sure you have your own compressor because you're gonna need to pump your tires up yourself. And this rain's coming in pretty quick, so that wraps up tip number 4. I'm gonna jump in the car and wait till it passes, and then we'll get on to tip number 5 in a sec. So tip number 5, I'm going to talk a little bit here about your mindset, okay? Now, four-wheel driving is a lot of fun when you do it the right way. Like I sort of touched on in my third tip about going out with friends, you need to go out four-wheel driving with an open mind, all right? If you're new to four-wheel driving and you're starting out and you're learning, it's going to be expected, and you need to expect yourself you're going to make some mistakes. You're probably going to get bogged a couple of times whilst you're learning. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The important thing, that when that happens, don't stress, don't freak out, okay? If you're on your own, make sure that you've gone out with the means to be able to get yourself out. I'll touch on that in the recovery gear. If you're going out with friends, they'll better help you out. If they've got some four-wheel drive experience, or if they're very experienced, they will know the safest and best way to get you out, and they will share that with you, all right? And that's a learning experience. Don't go out with a mindset that you own this four-wheel drive and that you're gonna go out there and you're gonna conquer every obstacle because it's the meanest, baddest four-wheel drive on the road, okay? If you don't know how to four-wheel drive, you are gonna come to grief, and you know what? A few people might get a bit of a laugh out of it, all right? You need to go in to your first four-wheel driving and you're learning how to four-wheel drive with an open mind. Like I said, you need to sponge off of all those people. So that's pretty much it. If you go out with an open mind, expect to have a few difficulties, expect to go out and have fun, you will go out and have fun. If you expect to go out there and conquer every obstacle and then you don't, you know, because you're still learning, you're not going to have fun, all right? If you expect to go and tackle that big hill climb over there, first go, don't get stuck halfway up, no dramas, and you don't make it a quarter of the way up and you've diffed out because you picked the wrong line and you embarrass yourself by big noting, hey, I'm going to go up that, no dramas. You're going to have a knock to your confidence, all right? And you're going to need to probably go back and reset and learn, all right? Learn from that experience, learn from picking the wrong line, learn from big noting yourself beforehand saying, yeah, I'm going to conquer that, no worries, and coming to grief, all right? The best thing you can do with four-wheel driving is give it a go with an open mind, learn from your mistakes, have a laugh about it with your mates and the people that are there, all right? Because they will always help you out. If you have the right attitude, you want to learn and you're new to four-wheel driving, the people that are out there with you will always help you out, okay? And you know what? If you're out on your own, you come across someone like me, for instance, and you want a couple free tips, just ask, all right? Plenty of times I've been on the beach near Wilbinga or down in Bunbury or down in Jagerup. Corkup Hill is a prime example, okay? Rocked up there, down the bottom of Corkup Hill, had a group with me of 6 cars. It was my parents, my cousin, and some friends. There was another group there. Half the group was at the top, half the group was at the bottom. The group that was at the bottom were struggling really badly. They weren't even making it halfway up the dune to get to the top. And all I said to them was, I said, oh, what are your tyre pressures at? Oh, 15. I said, oh, you're probably going to need to go a bit lower. Maybe go to 12. Oh, I'll give it another go. Went up, got stuck in the same spot, reversed down. I said to the group, I said, you don't mind? Can I go up? Yep, no dramas, go for it. I had my tyres down at 12. I knew the capabilities of my car. I had that experience. I'd been to Cork Up before. 12 PSI, all the way to the top, no dramas. And I said to the guy that was leading the group that was at the top, I said, what tyre pressures did you tell them to go to down, you know, to let their tyres down? Oh no, I told them to go to 12 and 10. I said, well, they're at 15. I said, they're not going to get up. They just keep doing the same thing. They only get halfway, then they get bogged, they stop and they reverse back down again. They literally, without changing anything, they're achieving the same thing over and over again. Unless you do something differently, don't expect the result to be different, all right? If you're going to go for a dune climb, third gear, low range, whatever, Cork Up hill, you get halfway up, you've given it everything, you don't make it, you reverse back down, you go and do the same thing again, you're going to achieve the same result unless you change something, all right? So I went back down to my group and I said to my cousin, who was new, and my parents that hadn't been to Cork Up before, I said, yep, we're at 12, you guys are definitely going to need to go to 10. It's very soft today, it has been cut up. They went to 10, straight up first go, no worries, all right? So they had the mindset. They were prepared to take on board some feedback, learn from it, and hey presto, we all had a really fun day. I can't speak for this other group. We went to the top, we had sundowners from the top, we had a laugh. They were still stuffing around, doing whatever, okay? And we shot off and went back to camp. So we had fun, don't know about them. Mindset, and learn from the people that are out there, okay? So if you don't have a lot of experience and someone there does have a lot of experience, listen to the advice they give you, learn from it. And that is all 5 tips. So I hope you guys have found them beneficial. Like I said at the beginning, I might have touched on it at the beginning, this is pitched towards those of you that are new to four-wheel driving, just starting out, okay? Those of you that have been around for a little while, probably not going to have learnt too much from this video because you probably know a lot of it. But you know what? You might find yourself in the position where you have someone new that comes four-wheel driving with you that's asking you these questions, all right? And asking you for advice and for help. Be helpful, all right? You never know, you might make a great friend out of it. And to be honest, I've made some great friends from the four-wheel drive community and I wouldn't change a thing. So there you go. And before we go, I have a 6th tip, a free tip for you, all right? If after all those other 5, you're still a little bit unsure, maybe lack a little bit of confidence to jump into the deep end and go out and try it, I'd recommend seeking out a four-wheel drive training course, all right? Now, there's plenty of good institutions out there for four-wheel drive training that will take you out in your own vehicle, show you how it all works, show you some basic recovery techniques. So they will purposefully get one of their vehicles bogged. They will show you how to recover it safely using the correct recovery gear, the correct techniques, okay? So that would be my 6th freebie tip. Yes, four-wheel drive training courses you have to pay for, all right? But you will learn a hell of a lot, okay? And it's done in a safe and structured environment that's conducive to you learning, okay? It's designed for people that don't have a lot of experience, that need to learn and get up to speed. So that's my 6th free tip. Jump on a four-wheel drive training course if you're not confident going out or you don't have a friend to take you out, okay? There is 6 free tips for those of you that are new to four-wheel driving. Now, I hope you found one, if not many of them, useful. If you have, I want you to go down there, smash that thumbs up button, give us a like. If you want to see what else we get up to on the channel, go and smash that subscribe button over here, all right? And last but not least, I have a heap of other videos over here you can go and check out. So you know the deal. Happy, safe adventuring. Stay safe on the tracks and trails, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.